this video, our group is going to make a review on the Cass Mudis book, The Far Right Today, which was published in October 2019. There, an author depicts contemporary condition of the right-wing parties, including far-right and radical right ones. The main thesis is that, for the time being, those parties have become acceptable and pretty widespread in the framework of the fourth wave, and it's really different from its three previous. Now, in order to demonstrate real popularity of the right movement, we will provide you with some data taken from the book. For example, 3 of the world's 5 most populous countries are run by far-right leaders in India, Brazil, and the US. What is more, radical right parties are part of coalition governments in 4 European countries: Austria, Bulgaria, Italy, and Slovakia, and fully in control in Poland and Hungary. The main reasons of this, as author highlights, are an influence of the media and probably migrants who cause governments of states to carry out some nationalist and protectionist policies. Media is not harmful itself, it just provides space and ground for such politics like Trump or Farage. Now we slightly move to the 5 topics that really got us interested, and we will discuss them. Personally, for me, part about subcultures got me really interested, and I counted it worth mentioning for this video. Subcultures are groups of people within the larger national culture that share an identity, values, and cultural objects. In the text were mentioned such movements as alt-right, football hooligans, and skinheads. Well, those are truly incredible, since they managed to become international, evolving into something else than just a group of people sharing same interests. What is more, these movements even force some public authorities to respond or react somehow. As I noticed, this kind of nationalism hasn't got any relations with the politics. For example, football hooligans are just obsessed with their team and wanted to be the best. This is it. No political background at all. In addition, one of the peculiarities of the alt-right is that it exists only online, having no performances on the streets and no representation in politics. And finally, skinheads. They appeared in the middle of the 20th century and created a specific dress code, hair tubes, being fully multiracial. Just think about it. Multiracial nationalists. This shows an incredible diversity of the right-wing movement. It is not only about one nation or state. These examples represent its versatility and flexibility. Exactly those cases made me think wider and got me out of the typical framework of the right representatives.
Now I'm going to discuss 2 things that caught my eye while I was reading this book. The first thing that I want to talk about is the chapter People. Here the author discusses what is inside the far-right parties and what people represent in far-right, what is it consists of. The author states that far-right parties consist of 2 stereotypical types of supporters. The first one is grumpy old white racist, and the second tattooed violent Nazi. But then the author contradicts this stereotypical opinion, discussing and explaining the multiculturalism and the difference of content of participants of right parties. For example, Alice Weidel, who is not straight, but majorly the participants are male and straight, but Alice Weidel, who is Alternative for Germany leader, is openly gay. And now I want to pass to the fact that the author made research. We're taking the Europe now, the European part of the world, Here, members and activists are exclusively white. The author researched this fact, and predominantly male, lower middle class rather than working. Talking about voters in 1980s, the scholar studied in details electoral support of far-right parties. We can talk a lot about typical voter for far-right parties, and the results clarified that West European far-right parties got mostly self-employed men votes, and this result was the consequence of proletarianization. The main thing to mention is that far-right parties are growing and becoming more successful, so the electorates are transforming every time and becoming more heterogeneous. And the second thing I want to discuss is from chapter 9, chapter Gender, the feminist issue. It was interesting for me how Northern European parties shared their opinion for feminism, while other far-right parties were against, and their opinion were completely different and negative for feminism. It is interesting how far-right parties, except Northern European, find and claim feminism as feminizes, and like they want to create totalitarianism. Mostly this idea is pinned up by the fear of undermining traditional family issues of the state and weakening the nation as a whole. So these were all the things and issues that we wanted to discuss. Thank you for watching.
In the book, the problem of integration is viewed as two different problems: the problems of immigration and the problem of integration. Immigration problem has been a core issue for the whole Europe and North America for many years. The main idea that some parties even called this immigration process white genocide, due to the fact that immigrants were donated from the state budget, which was causing some lacks in it. To my mind, their choice is not correct, due to the fact that well-balanced immigration policy can even boost the economy and help the state and the nation. For instance, new employees are coming to the factory from other countries and help the production to increase. This way it helps to increase the taxation of this factory and get more profit to the budget. Then author describes the rhetorics of the majority of right parties. They claim that not a well-balanced immigration policy is harmful for the state itself and for the nation. Moreover, in my opinion, that's incorrect to call the immigration policy a white genocide. Of course, some workplaces can be taken by the immigrants, but we should rely not on where is person coming from, but how the person is working. For instance, if the person is working better than the native person from the country or the origins of the company, we should employ the immigrant due to the fact that we can boost the economy by employing well-prepared immigrants. So, from this chapter, we can infer that the far-right party's policy is really protective. It aims itself to protect the native population of the country from the immigrants. And that's why they can call the immigration policy white genocide, but even though they are aimed to protect their native population. In the next chapter, I want to discuss, the author is describing the issue of corruption in the developed countries. The author claims that the issue of corruption is always exclusively linked to the people from the in-group. So basically, that means that this issue is coming from the business and the political elites. That's why author claims his negative attitude towards corruption by giving us an example of countries which are really corrupted. And right-wing party don't have to make any scandals on corruption due to the fact that everybody knows that the country is corrupted and it's harmful for the state. The main reason why right-wing party is so aware of corruption, to my mind, is that the corruption stops the development of nation. The main idea of corruption is to make a small group of people as rich as possible, despite the interests of the whole nation. To conclude, we can infer that the author is really aware of two problems which I have discussed. He gives argument for both of problems and why they are so important for our life. Moreover, he doesn't give any solution, so we can think of our own solution, and that's why I really like the book. It gives us some space to think over, and moreover, the author clearly states his position, if his attitude is negative or positive. So that is why the book is worth reading.
After discussion of topics with my colleagues, we would like to sum up and say that presence of the nationalist ideas, right-directed opinions, or right-wing parties is inevitable these days. Mass media cannot be abolished or removed, social networks won't close in the nearest future, and therefore the ideas will spread, reaching everyone's mind and influencing it. After we read this book, we tried to give you the main point of it and express our feelings and opinions. Well, thank you for watching.